we don't always know his plan, but we just try to show up every day and work his plan, and it's been fruitful for us and for our community.
Welcome to Classical Etc., coming to you from the Memoria National Conference.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Classical Etc. I'm Jessica Aboud, and I am here in our Highlands Latin School gym during our beautiful Memoria National Conference 2025. And sitting with me today is Miss Demree Jennings. Demree is the co-founder of Highlands Latin School in Houston.
Yes.
And we're going to sit down and ask Demree a couple questions about her school. But Demree, as a podcast listener, you know, we always start with what we're reading. So,
Well, right now, Passing the Torch.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Big fan of Louis Marcos.
Yes.
And he is actually in Houston with us.
Is he?
He comes and speaks to our families.
Okay.
And so we've known him for a while.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's a pretty good read. I can highly recommend it.
That's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I know Martin really enjoys Louis Marcos, so I'm sure he'd have a lot to talk about with you if you find him around the conference.
Yes, we were just chatting out in the parking lot.
That's funny. Well, tell me about your school. When did you start it? It's in Houston.
It is.
Yeah.
It's actually right across from NASA. Houston,
wow.
Houston
Okay.
follows the Texas tradition. It's a big space. It's
Okay.
kind of spread out, but we're right across from NASA. So we have, God has blessed us in so many ways. And one of the most significant ways is we have people that actually work at NASA that will come across and teach math or come across and
Wow.
teach logic
Yeah.
and then head back to work. So we have a great staff.
That's incredible.
On board. It is. It's crazy incredible.
How old? When did you start your school?
2017.
2017. Okay. So
Yeah.
you're almost a veteran
Well,
at this point. 10 years in almost.
We had a little bit of a bumpy start. You may have heard of Hurricane Harvey.
Yes.
So we were getting ready to start school in year one, and Harvey came knocking. It delayed school start by 1 week is all.
Wow.
But yeah, that's how we started.
That's
Harvey launched us.
Harvey launched
So,
you.
yeah.
And what made you start the school? What was going on?
Well, Angela Remington and I, we founded the school together. Our kids were at that age where we called middle school, and we had been homeschooling moms up until that point. And we were at that point where we recognized that we needed to do something that we call load share. You can teach a lot of things when your kids are in primary school, but once they get a little bit older, it's really hard to teach every subject to the level that most parents want for their kids.
Sure.
And so we started looking around and seeing what some of our options may be for some of those things. And there really wasn't that many options out there for us. And so we thought, well, we'll just homeschool. We had met at a co-op, and again, the co-op wasn't really a good fit for us. So we thought, we'll just school together. We'll just, bring our kids together. Angela's oldest and my youngest were the same age, so we were doing the same things. And we called Memoria Press, and we're just chatting with them about the curriculum and what that would look like onboarding our kids specifically. And they said, oh, well, we have a cottage school program. Let's chat about that. And both of us were like, well, that's really not why we're calling. So could we talk about why we're calling? And through those conversations, Highlands Houston came into being. We felt God kind of prompting us at that point once we recognized that for what it was. And we just tried to be obedient. And we don't always know his plan, but we just try to show up every day and work his plan. And it's been fruitful for us and for our community.
It
we have
sounds like it.
over 150 kids now. And it's been really good.
And is it K to 12?
Yes,
You have all
it
the
is.
grades.
We
Okay.
do. Yes.
Okay. So you have, in almost 10 years, you've got a lot established. What would you tell someone who maybe wants to start a school, but they're not sure? Do you have any advice?
I would say that if God is prompting you to do it, you need to be obedient and do it. And again, you may not know what the path looks like, but the truth is that's not the important part. And the resources that are available through Memoria Press and the CLSA and the team here in Louisville, it's just second to none. And I would say do it. Just step out in faith and do it.
You mentioned the resources from Memoria Press. What sort of things did you take advantage of? And I'm guessing one of them is the conference here.
It is.
So is that something you would recommend to people? And I'd be curious to know how it's been helpful to you over the years.
There's several resources here that we use regularly. One of them is the conference, because what you have to recognize too, as somebody that is trying to deliver this in a classically educating kids with a Christian worldview, the enemy doesn't like that. And you come under attack. And so at some point during the year, your staff and as directors, you have to fill your own bucket. And so when you come to something like this, to a conference, an MP hosted conference, that's where your bucket gets filled. That's where you meet people that are doing the same thing that you're doing. You're like-minded with them. And that matters. It matters to, get those little nuggets that you can take back with you, because then that can sustain you and then you have something to give.
That's incredible. Well, my last question would be, I'd be very curious to know, after this conference, what's maybe one thing or one of your big goals for this coming year? Is there anything on your mind?
Well, I think Highlands Houston, as we approach year 10, I think that what we want to do, I think we're pretty settled in what we do and how we do it. And I think now we want to turn a little bit. We're not very techy, of course. Our campus is technology free, of course. And so we don't have a large skill set in that area, but I think that we're going to have to embrace that a little bit to grow our campus a little bit. But we want some measured growth, not just open-ended.
And I'm glad you shared that, because I would imagine a lot of schools, similar to our classical schools, are wading through those waters with AI and all the different technological, the landscape out there is pretty broad, and it seems kind of thorny sometimes to know how to do it well and how to integrate anything at all. So that's interesting. Well, we'll have to follow up with you and see how that goes.
Perfect. Yeah. I would love to be able to tell you it was a roaring success.
I think you will. Well, thank you for joining us. This has been a wonderful conversation, and I hope that you have a terrific rest of the conference. I know you will.
Thanks, I'm sure.
Thanks, Demree. And thank you for joining us. Thanks for joining us today on Classical Etc. by Memoria Press. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, or share this episode or comment. We love to hear your questions and your comments. If you want to learn more about Memoria Press, please go to memoriapress.com. This has been Classical Etc. We're so glad you joined us, and we'll see you next time.